Hi, Oleksii. Hi, everyone.
Hi, hi.
I think Abhijit would be joining in a second, and we have other people who have already joined, and more people who will be joining soon.
Yeah, sure.
Hey Oleksii, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I think we should be having people joining pretty soon.
Yeah, we have some people who are joining here, Abhijit, and some of them are joining on YouTube live directly.
Great.
So we'll have mix of audience at both locations. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Dipanshu. All right, we're all set, so we can get started pretty quickly. All right, hey everyone. Welcome to a wonderful webinar again. And this time the webinar is going to be about the security management with Cisco Defense Orchestrator and Secure Access. As always, my name is Abhijit, and I'm going to be co-hosting this webinar with Oleksii today. And since we come up with technical webinars almost every week now, the webinar is going to technically get you introduced with amazing technology that Cisco is coming up. And we have expert joining with us who would make you guys familiar with what this technology and what this platform is all about. So today we have Oleksii Borysenko with us, and he's currently working as Cisco DevNet specialist and code exchange platform lead. And he's going to walk us through all the technicalities with amazing demos today in this webinar that we have come up with. Oleksii, I would love to hand over the podium to you to introduce about yourself. Please walk us through your experience and what you are engaged at Cisco right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. Let me share. I want to start with slides, and then we can switch to the demo.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Oleksii Borysenko. I'm responsible for security and AI in Cisco DevNet. Today we're going to talk about security management with two products. First one is Cisco Defense Orchestrator. It's a cloud-based solution for managing security policies across a bunch of Cisco solutions. They also support multi-cloud defense embedded inside of Cisco Defense Orchestrator. We can also interact and onboard firepower threat defense, ASA devices in it. I will show you dashboard later when we go through the demo. What we can achieve with it, and which use cases we try to show today. First, it's unify and automate firewall management across multiple platforms. So we can streamline security operation using cloud delivered solution. For this, team was developed and delivered so-called CDFMC, Cloud Delivered Firepower Management Center, that allow us to onboard wherever you're on-premise or cloud security devices. And how can you improve efficiency and reduce management overhead, of course. I will play with the sandbox, with CDO sandbox that we recently released. And each of you can book it through DevNet sandbox site. How it works, we don't only allow you to have access to the CDO instance, but we also understand that you should play with some devices there. The main problem for a lot of developers who want to play with something they cannot claim some devices from their own network or from their production network. That is why we provision cloud delivered FMC in a tenant automatically, and we onboard FTD device for you that you can play. Sandbox duration can be from 2 hours up to 3-4 days.
Okay.
So you can claim these devices. It can be automatically upload, or you can upload it manually if you want. By default, it upload automatically. Again, we also what's interesting here is that we also, for provisioning this sandbox, we utilize CDO API. So for provisioning CDFMC for onboard FTD device, for create and generate API token, we utilize API for this, for our sandbox. So you can automate all these processes and many others in your network, in your infrastructure, utilizing Cisco Defense Orchestrator API.
Yeah. So when we talk about the webinar, when we talk about the platform over here, now I come from an understanding where I know that if we have ICE devices and if we have FTDs, then I have a few SDN platforms to manage all of these together, where I can maybe use FMC to manage all the firepower threat defenses, which I have in my security portfolio. And I have other platforms also to take care of the other devices which are there in my infrastructure. So when we talk about CDO, is it something that CDO is going to manage all the security devices which are there, and you don't really need to worry about getting your devices managed by specific platforms? For example, I can have all of my FTDs managed directly within the CDO, and I don't need an FMC to be deployed if I want to achieve that. Is it an understanding that we can have?
Yeah. I can also extend what you mentioned, that you can manage FTD devices only through FTD, and of course CDFMC help us with this to interact with end devices, whether it's FTD or ASA or other security devices.
So this is a platform which has been introduced by Cisco to give you a centralized single pane of glass to manage entire security infrastructure. Is it so?
Yeah. Policy,
okay,
including policies.
Interesting. Awesome. Yes, please go ahead with your explanation.
Yeah, so we also give access to AI Assistant API, which I show you how we can interact with this. It's interesting because we see that a lot of our community, network engineers, security automation specialists, try to utilize more LLMs or small language models when they retrieve some data from network or from security device, try to analyze it. But usually it's we begin from like copy and paste what you can see in CLI or through REST API. Now we can see a lot of solutions that can automatically retrieve information through REST API or through netconf, RESTconf. Is depend on which with which devices, with which solution you try to interact. And then again, we give possibility, whether it's your open source on-premise solution or you utilize one of the third-party API of LLM of generative AI assistant, and they do a lot of work instead of you, so they can help you to analyze what you retrieve, that can help you to extract data from JSON that you need. And we can see that it's really simplified. What we can propose to the specialists, it's we have our own AI assistants that embedded directly in this case in CDO. It can also available now for some of other product like Cisco XDR, for example.
Okay.
And you can create conversation. You can ask something. You can ask some general question, as I show you a little bit later, like. And you can also ask specific questions. Models that we utilize for this trained on our internal, external documentation. So it's really having very good performance to related product, as well as it have access to all policy object information inside CDO.
Makes sense.
It's a screenshots, but later I
Okay.
will switch to the UI and show you how it looks like. For example, one of the question like the display ACP and NAT rules.
Yeah.
And here is a sample of answers.
Okay.
Network address NAT rules included both static and dynamic. For now, you can see that some rules have description like Plex inbound and net lost in a higher syslog. It's a tenant instance, so do not pay attention on the names. Yeah, and they do a lot of work that previously you can.
So it means
spend
that
like
the AI
1 hour.
assistant can take queries from you, and then it can go and interact with the CDO and then pull out the details that you have requested to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on the, I mean, when we talk about the API communications, then in order to communicate with the CDO and pull out some information at the back end, this must be an API with a method called get. But then does the, I mean, if the API allows, and if there is an API which is designed, then would the AI assistant also take care of executing some configuration onto the CDO? Maybe we can ask the AI assistant to create a new policy with some default rules or something like that. And if it does so, then is it safe to do that as of now?
Yeah, you're right that some of features is disabled as for now.
Okay.
And usually we want to simplify processes like collecting information, manage policies, and next step is the assistant can suggest you to do something, and then when you read what they can apply, only after you click or administrator click on related button in the assistant, it can be applied.
Because this can be dangerous also for production environments if we ask the AI assistant to make any configuration changes. And until the administrator review those changes, it can disrupt your security portfolio.
Yeah. You know, even without AI assistant, you have a great experience, as I know. A lot of people also disrupt network and devices with their own comments, their own scripts. So yeah, we still cannot avoid human factor here, but
yeah,
AI assistant is going to help to automate some processes, and yeah, we try to improve their performance constantly.
Yep.
Here's one more example, and let me switch to the dashboard.
Yep. So in the demonstration, you're going to use the publicly available sandbox environment for the CDO. And are we talking about the always on sandbox or reservable?
We talk about reservable sandbox.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's required provisioning.
Yeah.
And yeah, all connected with this. Let me.
We can say that Cisco as of now is coming up with all the AI integration, where I also hosted a webinar a couple of weeks ago with Flo Pashinger. He also introduced about the AI assistant, which can be used for communicating with other platforms. And this looks to be a great tool for actually having a centralized point of touch where you can directly communicate with your assistant and let the assistant do the job of pulling out the required details and show that to you. But as of now, like you also mentioned, Oleksii, it's safe to use the AI assistant as of now to pull information from the platforms, but we probably it's better to wait for some more refinements until you ask your AI assistant to actually make any configuration changes for the production environment. And yeah,
Yeah.
you can see the sandbox screen. So
Yeah,
this
it's a
catalog.
sandbox, so you can go to Cisco Defense Orchestrator here
Okay.
with this give our users instructions, so you can manually upload. If you go to Inputs tab, you can click. You don't want to upload onboard it automatically, then you can upload it manually. Then it's a description how you can log
Yep.
in. Here is the environment itself. It looks like here is a quick access
Okay.
tab with all credentials that you need to log in. Here is one of the instance
Wow.
that I have booked. You can see dashboard here. You can go to policies, FTP policies. You can see a list of them. You can then go to the settings, for example, create your API key, or if you book Sandbox, we send it to your API key generated for your session. You can just copy paste this bearer token. I'm going to open this
Wow. So
AI
looks like
assistant.
the AI assistant button is right there on the top of right upper corner of the dashboard. That's great.
Yeah, correct. By default, so UI is pretty the same interface that you can see in the most well-known LLM providers.
Yeah.
We do not reinvent something here. Let's start with some simple question.
How do I create a basic security policy for FTD? That's great.
Yeah. And yeah, you can see where you need to go, like policies, access control, select default actions. So word by word, you can see the full answer. Let's also ask something. Now when they finished, we ask something related to exact tenant instance that we work now.
Now, since policy is something that can be created in many platforms, right? And when you're using AI assistant of that specific platform, since we have logged in into a CDO dashboard, the AI assistant is strictly going to suggest you steps that you can perform in that platform. I mean, the steps that it's writing right now on our display, these are steps that we can take in CDO to create a policy, not in any other platform. Am I correct here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what else here? Probably you have heard about AI search engines. I'm personally use Find, for example. When you ask some questions, they also give you an answer. But beside of this, they refer you to related sources which they use to train their model, and you can go to the source and really check where this information was given. And if you trust this source, or if you don't trust, you can take in account.
Yeah. So you can validate yourself manually whether the information given is correct or not. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. The same here. So we give you direct link to the documentation that's used to train this model. And if you want, if you like old school and you prefer to work with documentation directly, you can go there.
That's great.
The question is, what access control rules are disabled now? They're going to analyze, can consume sometimes. Click view details, and we can see rule number, access rule name with table. Yeah.
That's great.
Uh,
So for the first response, it uses its own knowledge to give you details about what are the steps that you can perform to create an access rule. But at the second question, it actually interacted with the CDO to get the details, and then it also arranged it in a nice tabular format and then displaying
yeah,
you on screen.
yeah, exactly. So now I want to show also pretty the same, but when we utilize API,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use Postman
Okay.
to show this. Let me share my screen again.
Yep. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to utilize publicly available CDO Postman collection.
Okay.
All of you, after this webinar, sorry, can book your sandbox, CDO sandbox, and you can try it. My question is now like, what is CDO? It's also a general question. For this, we utilize first API operation, like post API operation, ask AI assistant. You
Mm-hmm.
can also then follow these conversations that you created. For example, as I showed you before, we
Yeah.
ask about policies. Then if you want to continue the same conversation, there is a conversation ID and you can follow. So AI assistant remember all previous information that you have asked. They have a
Yeah.
previous history, including your inputs, your prompt,
So it has its own
concerns.
database where it can look for the
Yeah.
information. Makes sense.
Then we create conversation. We need to copy entity UID, and then we should get related message. By the way, here's the example of what you see in table, like which was blocked. Like you can also parse it in your own AI system, proceed with it. In this case, the question was CDO, and you can see the answer based.
This is the raw information that the assistant might have got by executing the API, and then it arranges it in the beautiful way, or it beautifies the information and shows it to you on the platform. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. One of the reasons that I want to show exact API, because as I know, a lot of client customers utilize their own like AI agent or AI platform, whatever. And in this case, it's not good if you need to interact only with UI. You can utilize AI assistant AI and retrieve all information about policies, about network devices, and you can parse this information from this AI and then utilize it for your own AI agent, or I don't know, for your own LLM or on-premise or in cloud to analyze if you want. For majority cases, it's enough. Like what you can see, like what I showed you just before, like UI plus this API, it's enough. But if you want to integrate it with something else, it's no problem here. What else we can do? As I showed you before, we provision cloud deliver FMC automatically using KPI. Then we onboard devices automatically. So there is a bunch of post API operations that all of you onboard iOS devices, FTD devices, ASA, Duo admin panel. What also interesting to me, and I use it, is execute CLI command. So you can execute it in related devices, parse information if you need.
Wow. Does it mean that you can actually execute the CLI commands on the devices that the CDO is managing, or these are the
Yeah.
CLI commands which you can execute for CDO?
Yeah, on exact devices, yeah.
Okay.
Support on exact. Yeah, so a lot of operation now can be simplified, and you can achieve what you want with those level of automation your network that you want to achieve. Yeah, and of course I don't focus a lot here on it, but don't forget that the main idea was is manage object policies, and we have a lot of operation to do this.
That's great. So it looks like, I mean, there's a good bunch of APIs which has been already developed for the CDO platform, which any user can use using the Postman, as well as using the API assistant or AI assistant, as well as you can also build your custom Python scripts to consume the APIs which have been developed to onboard the devices, or to even create policies and then enforce it for the security devices. Is there any way that the sandbox is providing you hosted devices which can be onboarded into the CDO sandbox? So how does the topology of the CDO sandbox looks like? Is it just the CDO sandbox with some devices inside of it, or there's no device? The users are just gonna get an experience towards looking at how the CDO looks like and feels like with all the menu items.
Yeah, we provide both access to the CDO as a SaaS solution. We provide access to the CDO on dashboard using Sandbox, and as well we onboard FTD devices that are hosted on our DevNet data center. It's a virtual FTD. So yeah, and we also give you credentials to the VPN if you want to go directly to FTD device in our data center and run some command on it. It's no problem. For example, onboard it automatically, manage policies there. But yeah, the main idea of CDO is you can do it all remotely through UI or through API. But yeah, long story short is, yeah, we give you access to virtual FTD device in this sandbox as well.
Makes sense. That's great to know about the CDO. Now, since we just talked about that, you have AI assistant, which will help you to communicate with the CDO. But like we also talked about that organizations or engineers can develop their own codes also to consume the API and interact with it. And many of them do face difficulty building their own code from scratch. And we have looked at the developer.cisco.com platform, and there is a great, you can say, availability or resource, which is available called Code Exchange platform. And you're the lead of that platform. And I think it'll be great if you can take us and walk us through what this platform is all about, and how you have also made the code developments available for developers, which they can use, and then they can get a Kickstarter to build their own set of code.
Yeah, sure. Thankful for pointing me to this. Yeah, when we start Code Exchange, like I don't remember 6-7 years ago, we found that a lot of operation, a lot of simple scripts already developed by someone, and if you have some problem that you want to solve, in like 80% of cases, it means that somebody already faced with this problem and tried to solve it. And usually network engineers, automation engineers also share code. Some of them, we ask them to share this through GitHub, through GitLab. And Cisco Code Exchange is a platform where we gather all this open source and open access code samples. open source project related to Cisco technologies and related to open source technologies. It's not only strictly linked with Cisco technologies. And we gather it here and give you some interface that allow you to filter based on your request what you want to find related repo based on linked with related Cisco product, programming languages, or for example, some repositories that you can try with DevNet Sandbox in this case, or that you can utilize with Cloud IDE.
Wow.
That I show you later a little bit.
That's a great categorization, I would say. I mean, it helps a lot to scroll through, instead of scrolling through all the available codes, you can just filter what you want and then you would get exact results. That's great.
Yeah. And what I want to show, of course, you can filter it by Cisco Orchestrator that we recently talked about. Like we have Terraform provider here.
Okay.
You can read information how you can deploy it. Then you can go directly to the source code where when it was parsed, and if you want to contribute or create issues, you can easily do this. Let's come back to. I want to show some cases and move a little bit to secure access. We have a few repo related to secure access. Let me find it. Cisco
I see that's Cisco secure access.
Yeah, where is it? The cloud security repo. What advantages here for automation? We give you access to Cloud IDE. You can click here on the button. It's a Cloud IDE of Cisco Code Exchange.
So user doesn't even need to have a local ID installed. That's great.
Yeah. And some of the repo is already linked with some of the sandbox. You can just copy paste sandbox credentials and play. What we have here, it's pull all source file directly in your browser. Through your browser, you can interact through this interactive VS Code. You can interact with source code of files. You can navigate through some other files that you want, like README, to see what you need to. In the sample, it's required environment variables like API key, API secret that you should paste from your sandbox or from your own environment.
Yeah.
We also support Python here. It's by default installed, and
we're just activating the virtual environment.
Yeah. I activated it before. So virtual environment, installed packages that you want to interact with code. In this example, you can retrieve your API token to be able to interact with Umbrella API or Cisco Secure Access API. Yeah, and we find that our community likes these features. If you want to quickly test something, it's great options for you. Besides of this, we also have some unique containers, because Python it's not something unique. You probably, a lot of us have them installed in your own laptop. We just only simplify this processes, but what it's not so simply to install that. We have something unique. We have NSO container that allow you to provisioning automatically NSO container and allow you to interact with devices there. So it's a bunch of scripts that start
That's great.
NSO. Yeah.
I mean,
all of
apart
you.
from just having the VS Code, the user can also start maybe a local install instance of NSO and
Yeah.
can perform automation. That's great.
Yeah, and all this embedded in the browser. We also had features to reset environment. For example, you broken something, as usually happens to me. You
Yeah.
can reset it, reset the
Likewise, with
container.
NSO, it always happens.
You can reset and start from the scratch.
So when we say secure access, what is it all about? I mean, is it conceptually safe to say that secure access are best practices that we can use to actually implement security in your portfolio? Or is it a separate tool or separate platform that Cisco is coming up with? Sometimes Cisco's secure access also gets linked to being called as SASE. So how does the differentiation and understanding goes about, Oleksii?
Yeah. Let me share and come back a little bit to the slides.
Yeah. And for those of you who are attending, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. Once we're done discussing about the topics, then we may take up the questions and then Oleksii will be happy to answer them. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, so Cisco Secure Access Cloud Delivered Security Service, which acronyms is SSE. It allows you to interact and to proceed with Zero Trust, give you some experience to work with your security across your cloud and on-premise devices, provisioning tunnels. What we have here and what's interesting is API key. You can configure it based on what you want to achieve. Again, it's what we don't have for CDO yet, but you can here provide scope that you allow. For example, you have some developers or some network specialists that want only interact with investigate API, and they, for example, need only read access. You can set it. You can create special API key for this, and you can add expiration date. You can add description for your management team, for your policy team to manage all this API key. You have some super admins that should allow to create this API key for different solution or applications that you want to interact with secure access. You can choose scope admin, you can create API key. For example, you also want to allow them to do deployments and with, of course, give a write access. You can select it. So it's scope-based API access. And I also want to show simple automation use case. We delivered tagging. It was asked a lot for both for Umbrella and for secure access. Tags allow users to tag all their devices and then apply related DNA policy to all devices that was tagging respectively. And here is a high-level workflow description. What you need to do to achieve this. You need to add API keys that I showed you before. You can then generate a house access token that expires in 1 hour. So there is a code samples that I showed you before in Code Exchange that all of you to regenerate it like 5 minutes before it's expired. You can create tag using API or using UI. You can get list of roaming computers and identify related region IDs that you want to filter and for which you want to apply this related tag, and you can add tag to device. here is how it looks like in the graphical user interface. There was a tag that we create through API. We called it Windows 10. Here is
You fetched out information of
JSON.
the, okay.
Yeah, JSON about talk about our roaming computer, and then using origin ID, like we identify, for example, these two origin IDs that we need to apply this tags to it. In my case, I just took all machines with Windows 10 and like write down their origin ID. And then you can see here roaming, this roaming computer without tag, without any text. Then after running related scripts, we can see that text was exist here in UI. Now I want to show you script that was used to achieve this. Let me share VS Code with you. Here is a set of simple Python functions. So we utilize only two packages, request and JSON. We have add tag. We utilize it to the.
But this function is going to communicate with Umbrella and create tags over there.
Yeah, and it can communicate with secure access as well. So it's, you need just to replace first part of this API endpoint. Then add tag to devices with it retrieve our related device list. In my case, it's Python
Windows
list. And first we of course generate tokens and we write it down. Then we going through list of computers, identify a roaming ID based on our, again, as I mentioned, we filtering by OS version. In my case, it was Windows 10.
Windows 10,
And that's it. You're applying, and it's really simplifying. Here I have also like examples what I received from the API, like origin IDs, like tag when it was created, and of course a list of roaming
computers by origin
roaming
ID.
computers. Yeah. So these scripts really help you to automate DNS policy management.
That's great. Thanks for taking us through the secure access as well. And lastly, I'd like to know more about what's Brahma. There's been hype, and we would love to know from you what is the AI agent called Brahma, and take us through it, please.
Yeah, thanks. What we also discovered that a lot of developers, network engineers now looking in the way how they can utilize AI for interacting also with Cisco devices, and it's good examples how they can achieve some kind of automation. In this case, it's project not strictly linked with Cisco technologies. We just want to show how you can utilize AI agent with third-party API as well as with Cisco API. So it's a simple example of AI agents that allow you to check the following resources, like text messages that you receive through emails or SMS, for example, site URL, email, phone number, SMS. There are a lot of platforms and the mail service that constantly improve their spam filters. But yeah, a lot of cyber criminals learning how to bypass them, and really many channels now are hard to protect. For example, when you receive like direct call or SMS or through Messenger, you receive some information like from your contact that you know, but it was hacked, for example. You receive some links, some text information, or somebody call you and tell you something that you need to, that you have some problem, for example, with your bank account, etc.
Yeah.
And this project is going to show how one of the way how we can protect what we check here. We check whether the URL was marked as malicious. We also utilize here virus total API, URL house, as well as Cisco umbrella and Cisco secure access and investigate API. We also tracked and utilize REC to check whether phone number was involved in so being used in some scam or phishing or other suspicious activities. We also check senders' emails and content.
So, I mean, I heard about one of the platform which Cisco has called AMP, right? Advanced Malware Protection. And the working of AMP is also something where it interacts with some database, and by looking in the database, it identifies whether the resource that you're communicating with is secure or not to communicate. Is it safe to say, I may be wrong also, is it safe to say that the AI assistant or this AI agent looks into the same database and gives you information in real time so that you can be saved from maybe being hacked or maybe being attacked or maybe from communicating with the malicious or rogue target, something like that?
Yeah, we retrieve information from Umbrella and from Secure Access APIs that update regularly their database, as well as I utilize here some third-party API that allow you to track whether some of the URL or domain was involved in phishing or some suspicious activities. Here is an just simple example. It's work through CLI, but but it can also support some interaction through UI. So here we ask just give a simple URL domain, and then AI agent. In this case, I utilize React, React and reasoning. An action, so they retrieve all information. In my case, this framework provides some observation. So they go through API, collect all this information, and based on my default prompt, they finalize answering. In this example, that the domain has been identified as suspicious. URL status is unknown. Virus status, in this case, analysis is currently required at that times, but some of the APIs already respond that it was this domain is suspicious. You should not use it. The same for example, when you receive
a message or an image or something like that.
Yeah, phishing SMS. So it's a final how it see it. I will show you. So
it's like whatever the I mean the input that we give, it's just going to validate whether it's correct or not. And it may be image, it may be a question, it may be a text message, anything.
Yeah.
Kind of a platform where if we want to validate whether the data that we're looking at is safe to access or not, and you just ask it to the assistant instead of following all those methods and believing in the security platform that's out there. For corporate networks, it's fine, but for maybe a remote user or a BYOD user, he or she can directly speak to the Brahma and then get the input or get the output that whether the data or whether the resource is safe to access or not. Am I correct with you?
Yeah, you're correct. So such kind of agent really simplify and do a lot of work on behalf of you. So going to direct resources, search information. So in this case, you receive some information like, hey, here is you have some problem with your bank card, and go to this site. After AI agent analyze all this information, they extract phone number from here, they extract URLs that you provided as well as text, and using data that related models was trained and information that retrieved from third-party resources, they give you analysis. In this case, it was they creating a sense of urgency. It was usually cybercrime used us to emotionally react on something or leave our personal data somewhere on unsafe resources. So the analysis mentions that domain, this one domain, analyze it, and it's not a domain that usually used by the bank. So it's a subdomain of some providers, so everybody can book it, put whatever size they want. They analyzed as well as the agent utilize a search engine API to search related number, and in some cases they find information that people already left a comment on some site that, hey, this guy's called me before and looks like he's a phishing or something like this. Yeah, that's it. And this project is open source, and one of the idea is also to show our community how they can utilize Cisco API, Cisco solutions with their own AI agent, with their own.
Does this documentation takes you through how to use this particular agent natively?
Yeah, you can
clone
it
there
locally.
You go.
And
makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for taking us through this. And with that said, I think we're pretty good with pointers where we wanted to discuss about the security measurement that you can take with Cisco Defense Orchestrator and secure access. Along with that, we also talked about how AI is enhancing your ways to communicate with different platforms, as well as fetch out the information which may be valuable to you, but it gives you a single stop where you can quickly fetch out the required information instead of logging in into the platform and then looking for the details and then parsing all that details for the interested data. Rather, you can just consume the AI assistant and it will help you parse the data as well as structure it according to your need. This is where AI is taking you through. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope you're pretty good with Q&A. The session was pretty crisp. And thank you to you as well, Oleksii, for sharing all the important knowledge with us. I believe that all the participants must have loved the demonstration that you took us through, and many would go and explore the CDO platform via the sandbox and it's out there for public now.
Sure.
Final, what you'd like to highlight here?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I want to ask to use modern technologies, open source product, as well as you can see that Cisco has also developed a lot of cool technologies. We also deploy different AI systems that can help you to automate your processes. And we also constantly contribute in different open source projects, and some of our open source scripts, open source automation project is also going to help our community to build what they want and to automate a lot of tasks. And it was a pleasure for me, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, and take care. Bye-bye. Have a safe day ahead, and I'm looking forward to see you again in some other webinar moving forward. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Oleksii.
Thanks. Bye.
Sign.